Oh, no, that's worse. A little better background on. Let's get some water.
Tyler,
Hey, how's it going?
good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Doing pretty well. I was just calling more people and sending out more emails and stuff. Still a little scary, but I actually talked to a few people now instead of just their voicemails.
Having any good conversations?
Well, one guy apparently had didn't reach the person I was trying to reach, for one thing. It was listed under the wrong name, and he said he'd apparently been getting calls for this lady for like years. So I talked him through a bit of how to get his name off of certain lists, though I wasn't really sure why he was getting calls for her, because he didn't even live at the address. I was talking with him for a while. I was telling him how when I was in high school, I used to get similar calls, but I used to get calls from this French guy who would be talking to me in French, obviously. But I spoke a little French back then because I took it in high school, and he'd leave me weird voicemails. I think he was trying to get to his girlfriend. I don't know. He was just like always saying all this romantic stuff, and I was like, "What is going on, man? I'm a
That
high
is so
school
funny.
boy."
Yeah, sometimes if they've only had that number for like a few years or a couple of years, then it was someone else's number before. And if people just haven't updated their records for that person, then that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I was enjoying it. I sent out one of those emails like I was telling you about. It took me because I wanted to kind of rewrite the script for an email, because I don't know, I felt emails are a little bit different than when I'm speaking, I guess it feels. So I was trying to write it a little differently. Took me a minute, but I think I've got it down now. Hey there.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well.
I figured it out.
You got it.
What were you working on?
Trying to get into the Zoom meeting this way, so she was the host.
Oh, yeah, I got you. Yeah, it can be a little confusing, especially because all these different video call programs all have super similar interfaces, except for where they keep all the like options that you actually need.
Yep.
So if you work with more than one of them, it gets confusing.
Well, yeah, and our sometimes we're all automatically logged into like our accounts on Zoom, and it's hard to get to like log out so you can actually log into someone else's
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
account, which can be a pain in the butt. And then the way that our like scheduled meetings set up, the reoccurring ones are on like the last page, so you have to like search through everything to actually find it.
Mm-hmm. What, so you have to go, do you have to go to like the Zoom website or something to sign out of your account?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I got my COVID vaccine this morning with my mom.
Oh yeah? That's awesome. How you feeling? Are you getting any side effects or anything like that yet?
Not yet. The only thing I have is I'm allergic to adhesive, and they put a Band-Aid on my arm.
Oh no. Well, fair enough.
I got a great big red mark for where the Band-Aid was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got some friends who've been getting it, and most of them have only had like very minor reactions, if anything. A few of them have had like some headaches, but that's not a big deal.
I have a headache most days anyway.
Well,
That's
fair
how
enough.
I am, so I just assume when I get it, I'll get a headache and move on with my life.
I have a very artificial neck, so.
Oh yeah, so is my husband.
I was in a really bad car wreck, so I'm just lucky to be here.
That's good. Yeah, my husband has like a fake disc
I didn't know
and
they
then
could
a
do that.
shunt in his neck too, but
I have 2 levels frozen, 2 levels are the fake disc, and 2 levels around that are still torn.
ouch.
can show it.
Yeah, that'll give you headaches for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just glad you're
The
okay.
nerves have grown back. Here's my neck.
Oh, crazy.
Oh, wow.
But the nerves have grown back, you said?
The nerves grow back every year. I get them killed at the facet joints, and then
Yeah.
the headache's gone for a year.
Oh, that's nice.
It'd probably be cheaper to take the drugs, but I don't like them.
No. I know for my migraines, no drugs I've tried or any of the neurologists have tried works, but I did do nerve block up at HSU a few times and that worked for sure, but insurance won't cover it because my nerves aren't actually damaged. They just are, causing migraines. It's like 25 to 30 days out of the month. I'm like,
Is it in
that's all.
the facet joints? Is it in the facet joints?
I'm not 100% sure. I know like when they do the nerve block, it's like on the very, very back of my head on the base there.
Well, there's a lot of different nerves. So you have the facet nerves as the ones that I kill that eliminate my headaches. And those, you can do a test of a nerve block, but to go in, they go kill the nerve with radio frequency and high heat.
Yeah.
It works really well. If the nerve block works, that'll work.
Yeah. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Mara. I was always talking with the buyer right up until 1, so she's doing a quick break and she'll come right back.
No problem. Hey, Corin.
Hello, Mara. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
Hey, Corin.
Hey, Jeff.
What's up, Jeff?
Other staff and KWAS. Can't remember who our presenter is. I'm
That's
sorry.
Dana.
I'm Dana.
Hi, Dana.
Dana.
We'll give people a couple more minutes and I'll do intros.
If there's just 6 of us, that's going to go really quick.
Accountability. Ability, and
I feel like everybody jumps on right at the last minute.
we're all a bunch of real estate agents, means we procrastinate.
I know, like Steph said, that's what I was doing. Like, oh my gosh, I've got 15 minutes. I got to go get some food. Good thing we
Yeah.
have microwaves.
Yeah, Steph, that's exactly why when I first jump in, I usually have my camera off because I'll be talking, but I'm on camera and I don't want to eat.
Yeah, I hate it when I send the recordings out and you can see just like me the first 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, when you're just sitting in the room alone.
Yep. Or like, and I'm usually doing something else, but then when I go send a recording, I'm like, wow, I look like a derp.
That's
Yeah.
right. I have white hair and the light makes my head look like it's invisible.
Glowing.
It's a
I
halo.
know how you feel there. I'm all red. My hair.
Yeah, no, I have the yellow lights right above my head. Really makes me look red too.
When I do it at home, I'm behind the light. It's not as bad. I can't fix the light here.
All right, let's start with accountability. So real quick, we'll check in and go over any contacts or how many contacts you've made, and then any appointments or contracts you've written. Tyler, you want to get us started?
Yeah, sure. I've been calling more people. I've actually talked to 2 people, I think, so far. I've made like 8 phone calls this morning, more afterwards. One of them I kind of bungled it a little bit because I wasn't actually expecting someone to pick up because they hadn't so far, and so I got tripped up and probably could have done something more with that one, but yeah, it's all good. Yeah, so I'm doing pretty well there, just getting used to it still.
Awesome. Well, that's good forward movement. So good job for getting out there and doing it. I'll come back to you, Stephanie, when you're not eating. Corin? Oh, there's Stephanie.
Yeah, so working on reviewing an offer I got on my listing and submitted a counter offer, just waiting for the buyer to respond with that today. And then working through the steps on a buyer I had an accepted offer on, just from going through the steps with him to make sure we abide by all the timelines. Was checking in with a few of the buyers that I've been talking to the last couple months to see if there's been any updates or anything. Actually got one person to call me back and said, "Hey, I missed a call from you." I said, "Yeah, I was just checking in." She said, "Yeah, I'm sitting here in the emergency room because I had an adverse effect to some medicine." I was like, "Why are you calling me back? Like, this obviously is not a priority."
She's passing time.
So yeah, I mean, I think she was just sitting in the waiting room like, "Hey, I'm just sitting here." So it was actually urgent care, not ER, but regardless, I was just, I guess she really felt like she needed to call me back. So that was earlier today. I thought that was kind of comical, but anyway, that's pretty, yeah, just following up with people, checking with a couple other buyers, like I said, potential ones that are kind of like, "Oh, I need a couple things to happen before I'm ready." So following up with them, making sure I'm
Good.
in front of them.
Steph.
Hello. I had 12 contacts and 7 note cards. I added 2 people in my database, and I made 2 appointments for next week to meet with 2 different lenders. So, and I did preview a house last night and listened into the state of the industry this morning.
Awesome. Great job. Super productive. Jeff?
Can I do both of ours?
Yep.
So we had 7 more people added to command today. We had 3 contacts. We sent off 54 Facebook page invites and did 1 new post and got a couple of new likes out of that. So that's what we have. We have also a new buyer. So we have a total of 3 buyers now that we're kind of trying to see where they are in the process and kind of work them into being ready to go. They're not all immediate pre-approved, but we're trying to work them towards that.
Well, in today's day and age, I would say we had an appointment this morning, which means basically a 30-minute conversation on Facebook, instant message. But it was price, it was Veterans Bass, it was location, it was NLS search. So I think that counts as an appointment.
Yeah, sometimes our appointments look a little different than we expected them to, especially if we're not meeting face-to-face during COVID. Perfect. Good job, guys. Chelsea?
Hello. Full disclosure, my husband is home from work today, so this morning my daughter and I had a mommy date, but in between all that, I emailed my new listing that is out of the area and gave them just a few ideas. They've lived in their house for 30 plus years, and so they're a little scared on selling their house, but I gave them some tips on that and some just confidence boosters on how this is a really great market to sell in because their house is a little older and they're worried about fixing up like all the little things, and just maybe suggesting to them to not so much worry about that as much as they're feeling like they should. I've also spoken to both my buyers that I have right now. I usually check in with them during the day, and and one of them is just dead set on getting into real estate school so she can join a brokerage, and of course Keller is where she'd like to go. So she talks to me about that frequently. So I'm fielding her buying needs and her interests, and with my new listing, working on that and getting them some more information so I can get a CMA done today and get that to them by the weekend. And that's where I'm at. Oh, and I registered for the Lane County Land Use class at 10 a.m. on Friday in case anybody else would like to do the class as well.
Awesome. Good job. Debbie?
So I finally sent out invites for my Facebook page, and as of today have 46 followers, which are mostly people I know or acquaintances. I actually did about 60 cold calls this morning and actually spoke to only about 4 people. One of them is a allied resource now, and one is just a long-term nurture. And then I sent both of those people notes.
Awesome. Great job. Cal?
Yes, I'm actually follow up with my buyers too this morning, and same like the other days. And the new thing is, I was had the about a 1 hour meeting with the local lender that we can partner up and do some marketing. So we're thinking about sending some newsletters. He's been in this business for a long time, so he has a lot of connection, local neighborhood. So that's what I'm planning to do.
Awesome. Great job. Oops. Sherry.
Hey there. I working on my leads. I got my Facebook ads, and I'm up to a little bit over 50 now. And working on some personal handwritten notes to some of my people in my sphere, and just kind of see how they're doing, and throw my card in there and stuff. I have a couple buyers that have certain things in mind that they're looking for, and so I'm going to set them up with a smart plan to kind of just continually send them options, and so just kind of trying to get all that figured out.
Awesome. Great job. Annie.
Hey everybody. I don't know if you all know each other. I guess I'm kind of jumping in halfway through.
It's okay. We just do this daily, so you don't have to have done it before, but it's a nice little form of accountability for everyone.
Yeah, totally. We'll just do a quick introduction. I'm Annie, and I'm over in Bend. And I started last week, so I've just really been getting a jump on it. I met with a mortgage lender yesterday. We talked for a bit. I launched my site on Monday, and made an Instagram post announcing to everyone that I'm an agent now. And yesterday I spent pretty much all day just calling everyone I know in my contacts and basically saying like I'm an agent and I would like to add you to my mailing list. I'll send out a quarterly newsletter, nothing too spammy, but there was a lot of interest in that. So I've been building my database, and
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good job. It's the most important thing you can do. Tori.
I have a meltdowny 4.5-year-old in my living room, so
no worries.
Checking in. I am also working my other job right now still, but I had an appointment today with a future like Keller Williams prospect, someone interested in doing real estate. And I have another appointment on Friday for a couple who is interested in doing real estate. And then I started working on through Command. I started working on creating my own like buyer consultation packet. So I started working on that. That's been kind of, I feel like those are pieces that I want to have that I haven't done yet. So I'm excited and looking forward to continuing to work on that. And then I also have an official closing date for my buyers. So I'm like ready to dance and sing and scream, but I'm not going to yet. We'll wait till that day comes. But March 10th, I'm looking forward to it. So I haven't added anyone new to my database, but just been working on nurturing the relationships that I have right now.
Perfect. Good job. Tanaya. Is it Tanaya or Tanaya?
It's Tanaya.
Perfect. Okay.
So I'm just still in the inspection process with my first buyers. We've had to extend it a little bit, and so I have had the pleasure of talking to basically every electrician in our area and every foundational contractor in our area this week. So my focus has really just been there. And I am finally going in Command. I did meet with one lender this week, and I have another appointment tomorrow.
Awesome. Great job. Christina, last but not least. You're on mute though. Oh, there you go.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Let's see. So I feel like nothing really too exciting to report right now. You know, just you know, I have like 3 buyers. One we almost ordered an offer on last week. I'm still, you know, searching. There's something that came up today in Sun River that they might be interested in as well. So, but they live in Washington, so I may go and do a virtual tour.
Walkthrough. Nice.
And yeah, just kind of going through my contacts, and I really need to work on sending out some handwritten notes. I haven't done that yet. So I feel like I'm totally behind. So I want to kind of take the time and do that today. I would love to ask a question.
People love them.
Yeah. Are people, I mean, what's like the going thing? Like, are the agents on here like sending them out daily, like the, you know, the 10-4, or are you kind of waiting till the end of the week? Like, what's
if you wait till the end of the week and do 50 in a day, your hand will probably hurt.
Exactly.
I think there's no right or wrong as long
Yeah.
as you are getting them out. So just do whatever works for you.
Sweet. Cool. All right. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, without further ado, we have Dana with us today. And we are going to be doing find and show homes. So Dana is from our Keller Williams Capital City locations in Salem. She has been selling real estate in the Salem area since 2003. Before real estate, Dana was an industrial engineer. She provides excellent systems to make sure everything is running smoothly within her business and every real estate transaction. She runs a Burke team with her husband, Alan. So I will let you take it away, Dana.
Okay, I will get the slideshow going. So our goals today are to learn techniques for qualifying homes to show to your buyers. In this market, it's a little bit different than normal, where you would actually have more houses to try and get together to show them. So you normally show somebody that comes in from out of town homes for 2 or 3 days, and now you're just doing the 2 or 3 homes that come on the market. So it's a little different than normal, but it still is a very valid process. And it's important to get people to get things showing in front of each other. Let's see if I can get them all where they need to be. There we go. So it's important to make sure that you get the homes out there that they want to look at. In this market, it's also important to make sure that their expectations are that they need to be moving quickly on a home when they find one. I'm losing all my screen controls. I think I got them all. Make it go. It's my first time doing it with Zoom, so. So make sure that you get them into the homes as quickly as possible, get them scheduled. I usually schedule about 15, 20 minutes apart, but if it's the very first house you're showing them, it might take them longer. They're usually afraid to look or touch anything, but they shouldn't be touching anything during the COVID restrictions anyway. So make sure that they sanitize their hands before you guys go into a house. Next slide. I'm assuming you guys haven't been doing lead generation during these.
We've done it during a few of them, but for the most part, no.
Okay. I'll let you do it after, and make sure you do your lead generation every day. That's the one thing that most new real estate agents do not do, and then they wonder why they don't have any business. So it is really super important that you lead generate every single day. It's part of both my husband's and my daily routines. Get your head in the game. It's really most buyers find their house online, and they start searching online way before they get with a real estate agent. So making sure that you're touching base with your clients that you're sending listings to, and making sure that they're getting the most up-to-date information all the time is really, really critical. One thing, if you're on the borders between Willamette Valley MLS and RMLS in the valley here, look in both, because there might be some listings that aren't in one or the other that you will be able to get your foot in the door and make yourself look like a hero because they didn't find it. So make sure you do that here in Bend. There are some homes in Bend in our multiple listing service, but most of them are in a separate multiple listing service. The faster you can find the right home for your client, the better off you are. How many of you have more than one buyer that you're working with? And are you seeing the same people when you go from house to house? No?
We aren't quite there yet. Our buyers are still working on getting lender approval.
Okay.
What do you mean by seeing the same people?
Well, here in our market, if you have a house under 350 and you're going from house to house that just came on the market, you're seeing the same people waiting to get into the house that you saw at the last house. We're getting anywhere from 10 to 15 offers per house, and my record's 21. It's super, super competitive, and we have a couple clients that were qualified, but they couldn't go any higher and they didn't have a lot of down. So they're actually saving for more down and trying to go conventional instead of FHA, because after they made 3 offers, they realized that they couldn't be competitive enough. And that's what they're doing. And that's what everybody in our market really needs to do. They need to be super ready. Most homes are going $25,000 to $30,000 over the asking price. They aren't all appraising, but the ones that are winning the offers are paying the difference between the asking price and the appraisal. So it's critical that they're completely ready before you start showing homes, because they're not going to win. And finding the right home for them. If we were in a seller's market or a buyer's market, like we were in 2008 to 2014, there was a lot of homes on the market, and people were super picky, so you'd show them a lot of homes. But you can't do that today because there aren't any homes on the market. We literally have the lowest inventory levels I've seen in my career, and in my my parents were both realtors before, and they've never seen inventories this low either. So it's a whole new environment to be showing homes in, and us being professional and not taking it personal if they don't want to make an offer on a house. It doesn't matter to us. It just matters to them. Okay, so when I can do the slide, I can't read the materials. I need 3 screens today. So do you all have relationships with any lenders, dentists, landscapers, etc.? And there's a script in your book for introducing yourself to other service providers and seeing if they want to be part of your network. Do you guys want to practice that script? No?
Actually, just this morning, I sent my post that I did on Facebook was specifically asking our group for referrals. And so we just did that this morning on a kind of social media scale. So I think I'm looking for vendors specifically and referral partners. So.
And I had my teeth cleaned yesterday and gave 5 business cards to my hygienist and the doctor.
By the way, Jeff and I are in the same room, so we use one mic, otherwise there's feedback.
Okay. Typically, 92% of buyers are using the internet. I think that number is actually higher. There's only a few buyers that are not using the internet, and they're usually older. And they're a little slower at making decisions to go do things. 50% of buyers are using mobile websites, and 98% of buyers who use an agent viewed real estate agents as a useful information resource. So it's important for you to know what you're talking about when you go into a home. What I usually do when I'm showing homes to people is I kind of watch their body language. If they look like they just walked into their home and they're super comfortable, then it's time to really get your eyes open and look for things that might go wrong with the house. You know, is there settling cracks? Is there cracks in the sheetrock? Is the siding in good shape or bad shape? Check all those things out when you're going through, because you're the resource for them. And 24% of recent home buyers reported the primary reason for the recent home purchase was a desire to own a home. I think that number, especially with millennials, is probably 50% of them want to own a home. My office finally warmed up. I think the heat comes on about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. 9% purchased a new home due to a job-related relocation or move. Getting in with some businesses that are hiring and offering your services to their prospective employees is a good thing too. So if you know a company that's doing massive relocation, opening a new facility or something, try and get in to meet with the HR people and provide local information for their employees. When you're looking for homes, when you see something that pops up that's one of your clients' perfect homes, get on the phone with them right away and get them in there, because the home is going to be gone in a matter of hours or days. Each agent does something different. I usually, like, if I have the listing, I want to make sure that people have as much time as possible to review offers and that we have more than one. Some agents are doing it first come, first presented. So it just depends on how each agent's doing it. When you're looking for homes and you find the perfect one, call them up, find out how they're doing offers, so that you can be the first one in and then make your offer look really good. Keep the focus on the best homes, and it's okay if they don't like a home. If in our market here, people are putting on some really ugly homes that have never been fixed up and people are buying them. So it's okay if your client walks away and you just have to keep looking. Do any of you have your screens up where you can do a search real quick? Okay, so let's do a search and see how many homes you find on the market and whatever your mid price point is for a home, the most popular. Or if you have a client you're looking for, let's pull one up. So I usually look at the active and the bumpable ones in our statuses to find a home. Because if my client doesn't have a house to sell, yeah, I might be able to bump somebody out of the way and get it. So in all of Salem, between 275 and 350, there's only 16 homes. How many homes did you guys come up with?
I just used my Kelly app. And for the 97408 zip code, it said there was a total of 9 active homes. I don't know if that's as up to date as the RMLS, but it's the one that I had the most up on my computer. Is a little slower.
I looked
Okay.
300 to 400,000 in an area town. Those people are interested in zero. Zero listings, 300, 400,000 in the area they're interested in.
And Jeff was using the RMLS because his computer is faster than mine.
Okay, so that's not very many homes. In 2005, before the market crashed, we had hundreds of homes. So you would actually have to pare it down. So it's really important to know how to add criteria to do that. But in these times, it's just important to make sure that you're watching what's going on and double checking it. We have our emails going out immediately to our clients, and it also sends us a copy, and we're watching them. My husband does most of the buyers. I do mostly sellers, but I have a couple buyers that I'm working with that my background as an engineer helps with, and his background does not. So it works out okay, but we watch them religiously every single day. I have a family wanting a house in Kaiser, and there's just no inventory. If I just eliminate down to Kaiser, I think I'm gonna have like 3. Yep, 3. So it's important to know what's out there, and if you increase, the prices are going up, but you need to be searching about 30,000 below their value they can go. So because you're going to have to be able to bid up to win the bid. So when you find something, you get on the phone and you call your clients and get them in there, because it will be gone in a day or 2. So when you only have 6, it's really hard to reduce the list. But let's pretend that we had 100. If you go through them and start paring them down, you only want to show them 10 or 15 homes a day, maximum. And right now, you're going to be lucky to show them 3. And in our MLS, at the Willamette Valley MLS, we're getting, most of our properties are going on the market on Thursdays and Fridays, and then offers are being presented on Monday. So you need to make sure you get your clients in them and be prepared to do that. Does anybody have any challenges with that?
Yeah, I have a buyer that she has a hard time making up her mind. She's a first time buyer, and she sees something she likes, and then she's like, well, I don't know, I'm not thinking about it. And she works for the hospital. She works half the week, and I kind of explained to her, well, if it's something you like, you're gonna have to be aggressive. And she kind of thinks about it, and so she hasn't really. There's been a couple opportunities that she missed out on just because. Oh, it's scary. It's scary when you're first time, and it's a big decision. And I don't want to say you have to do this and rush into it, but she's been kind of afraid to make the move, even though she says I really need a house. And so that's kind of scary for the first time home buyers right now, because they're not used to just jumping so quickly.
No, they're not used to jumping quickly. After she misses the perfect house, she might start thinking about it a little faster.
Yeah.
Nurses and doctors are a little more scientific, and they like to have time to analyze data and think about it. In this market, they don't have that opportunity. So one of the things that we tell them, you know, if you were going to be playing in the Super Bowl this week, would you want to be on the game or on the sidelines? And the answer is usually, I want to be in the game, right? Well, you have to get in the game to be able to have a chance of even trying to get the house. We can get you out of the contract without you losing your earnest money, but we have to get you in the playing field before you're ever going to get to the next step. And it usually works. It calms them down. They're still scared, but as long as you can show them that you can get them out of the contract while they do inspections, then they'll usually be okay. But it is scary. So in our books, we should have, I wish we had more inventory so you guys could practice a little more. When it's important for you to focus on finding the right home, showing qualified homes. And I would not show a fixer-upper to a first-time home buyer unless they have somebody in their family that's a contractor and they're not afraid of it. Because the fixer-uppers can have hidden problems that you don't know about. I do believe that as soon as they lift the regulations on foreclosing on homes, that you're going to start seeing some foreclosures start showing up on the market. And before people miss a house payment, they typically quit taking care of the house because they don't have the money to do it. So you need to have your eyes wide open and looking for things that aren't being taken care of when you're walking through a house. Do you all know how to do a search for your buyers in the MLS? Annie, do you know how to do that yet?
No, and I'm wondering if I should maybe watch the orientation first, because I don't really know how to do anything on the MLS yet. And so I feel like I'm a little behind everybody.
Well, you are. You just got your license. It's okay. You have to start somewhere.
I don't want to hold them back. I have the link. I'm thinking about maybe just doing the orientation now, just so I can kind of, be more on track and then maybe join the next session.
It really won't hurt you to listen through these, because you will still get information out of all the classes. Okay. Because it won't take you long once you start searching to be able to have to use the stuff.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Kind of found it was helpful to look do a search through Paragon, because they have a really good texting where I could send houses. I could send them a text of the houses available. I have one client that she likes to receive texts instead of emails, and so it's a pretty slick. It works really well.
Yeah, Paragon does that. RMLS, I don't believe, does. I use it, but my husband actually uses the search function more than I do. I use it for CMAs. And I'm not real adept at that. So if anybody wants to share a screen, I can let you share a screen, and just raise your hand so I know who wants to do that. If you want to show Annie how to do a search real quick. Nobody? All right.
Sorry, that was I got sidetracked by a phone call. What was the question and what are you asking?
does somebody want to do a search to show Annie how to do a search real fast, or do you want me to share my screen and do one in Paragon?
I've never shared a screen before. I have no problem showing her how to do a search though. Is this in RMLS? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, I can do an RMLS. I can log out and log back in to that one. So you would hit the search button. And I usually do an advanced MLS search. Let's find the Lane County one. Are most of you in Lane County?
Yeah, I think.
Except for I think Annie's actually over in Bend, if I remembered correctly from the beginning of the.
Yeah, I don't have the Bend one.
Oh, yeah, I'm in Bend. I think there's another couple gals.
Is anybody in the Bend MLS? Can I let you share screen?
I'm in the Bend MLS, but I won't know what I'm doing if you guys want to tell me what to do.
I'll just go back to Paragon, then it won't matter just because I'm more familiar with it. So I've set up the active or bumpable area. The areas are different in each MLS. Area 10 is Kaiser. If I want Central Salem, it's 20. And you will learn them because you do them all the time. You will learn your numbers very quickly. So when I do 275 to 400, now I'm up to 29 homes. So that's a little better. What was it at 350? So I've got 29, and then it will give me a spreadsheet format to look at. And then I can go individually click through them. Let's make this bigger. And I can click on the pictures and look through them. I have a bunch of clients that are looking for only gas furnaces, and a lot of the older homes don't have them in our area. Don't want a condo. That picture was taken when we had snow a couple weeks ago. That house looks like the house I grew up in. Only it's in a different town. When you're looking at houses like this one, this garage has a flat top roof in Western Oregon. That's not necessarily a good thing. They tend to leak. So make sure that you point that out to your clients if you have a flat top roof. And in the Bend area, the snow load might get too heavy if you had a flat top roof. When you go up to a house, when you're showing homes, let's get this picture bigger. When you're looking at build up here, when you go inside the house, there's a buildup of leaves right here that can create a dam on the roof, and you can get moisture on the inside of the home. So look at the ceiling when you're showing the home. When you're in the area around this room and in the garage, because of all the debris that's up on the roof, you might end up with a leak. And that's important to point out to your clients if you see one. In new construction homes, we recommend people still do a inspection, and especially a sewer scope. I've had 4 sewer lines that were completely filled with rocks on new construction homes. So make sure you talk to your clients about that, because that's an expensive fix if they have to do it. It's better to make the builder take care of it, because they're the ones that created the problem. In this particular neighborhood, it is the area of town that gets the Christmas lights. You would want to bring something like that up if you have an area of a town where the Christmas lights are, because they will have an expense at Christmas time they may not be used to. Some people want to live in the Christmas light areas and some people do not. But your traffic's going to be bad from about the 10th to the end of the month. Let's see on this.
Could I ask a quick question while we're going through this?
Yes, ask. That's what we're here for.
Sorry for the background noise. I have 2 kids in my living room, but I have a listing that, a potential listing, I'll say, and it should, before spring, I'm trying to get them to do it as soon as possible if they are going to decide to list, but they've lived in the home for several years, and it's in Dallas, Oregon. It would be a 3-bedroom, 1 bath. And what I'm wondering is, because I'm located in Eugene, Springfield area, and so I am not part of your guys's or the Salem MLS system. I'm part of the RMLS. If I input them in our RMLS, then it will automatically populate to sites such as like Zillow and Redfin. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And then my other question is, when posing a house in Dallas, would you categorize that as like a suburb of Salem? I mean, because I feel like I actually went to high school in Dallas, but I left in 2004. And I haven't really been back much since. But would that be like how you would probably categorize the home?
Most people that live in Dallas, a lot of them do work in Salem, but a lot of them do not. And they don't always want to be categorized as a suburb of Salem. I list all my listings in both RMLS and WV because I sell 30% of them off the RMLS. But the agents that are in the Dallas area, which are probably going to be the ones bringing a buyer to your house, are not going to see that house unless they belong to both.
And what is the WV?
It's Marion, Polk, Lynn, and Benton counties.
Okay. Thank you.
So it's about, I pay for my husband and I, so I have to remember to get it in half. I think it's $40 a month, $45 a month. And we use a different lockbox than you do on RMLS.
Thank you for that information.
So you will have to give everybody a 1-day code or
Right.
put a Willamette Valley MLS lockbox on the house.
Okay. Thank you.
I had also heard that the WV MLS lockboxes don't actually have codes, so you can't access them unless you have an agent from that area or you are a part of it.
That's true. They are giving us a new workaround, but it's not out yet for the new iBoxes that we just switched to. And that they're supposed to be able to give that through the new Sentry app, but it's not out yet. It's like the end of the month it's supposed to be out.
Perfect. Luckily, yeah, I think I happened to hear that from Mara because I was trying to show some clients some property up in your neck of the woods. And she said, actually, you're not going to be able to access that. So luckily I didn't drive an hour each direction and not be able to access the house. So
I personally try to put both lock boxes on. I don't have as many RMLS boxes as I do the WV boxes. I have 25 of those, but I only have 4 of the RMLS. So I usually put them on my upper end listings. And I have some combo boxes I can put on them too. But not every agent does both.
Right. Okay.
It's only about 15% do both. Older homes like this one, if a home is in a historic district, it has a special addendum, and it has a lot of special rules. If it's on the historic registry, it has to be open once a month to the public. So you need to make sure you let your buyers know that. So I just went through everything that we have. So those were the interesting, weird ones. Let me do it one for Dallas. See what's out there. The other problem you're going to have for valuing the house in Dallas is if you're not a member of the Willamette Valley MLS, you don't have the access for the comparables. So make sure you're getting with somebody that does. Dallas has a lot of new construction. It's still not a lot of houses. And most of the new construction should have a picture of the floor plan in here somewhere. Still doesn't let you get it too terribly big. On RMLS, you get a 3D app with, what is the name of that? For free. And they will draw a floor plan of the house if you don't have one. So it's kind of nice to do those. It's called MO Viewer. And they're letting you do that for free right now. So that's an advantage you can offer to somebody. Part of this subdivision is a 55 plus subdivision. So you need to make sure your clients are that old if you're going to show homes in a 55 plus. If you are looking for dual living, those are hard to find. So if you have somebody that's looking for that, it's not a special field, it's only in the remarks. So that's even harder to search on. So you just have to look through everything to find that for one of your clients.
What's a
And
dual
now,
living?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Oh, I was just asking what a dual living was.
Well, if you have, like my mom just moved into our house. So you have 2 generations, you want 2 separate living areas, that would be dual living.
Oh, okay. I understand now. Thank you.
It's also kind of hard to find duplexes right now, isn't it?
It is really hard to find duplexes.
I mean, I actually had 2 buyers. They both want a duplex, and it's like, well, okay, but it's kind of difficult.
If you're looking for some of those, you can have the title company pull you a list of duplexes, and you can write letters to the owners. You might be able to get the listing and the sale all at the same time.
Oh, good idea. Thank you.
Another thing you can do is watch for sale by owners, because there's not very much on the market right now. Finding some of the for sale by owners, even if they won't let you list it, the more persistent you are, they might. But they might let you go through their home and sell the home for them because they really don't know what they're doing. fact, I have a land voice account looks for sale by owners and gives me a list every day. But even those, it's like one every 3 or 4 days. It's not very many. Just like there's not many listings, there's not very many for sale by owners either. But if you're driving around looking at stuff, if you see a for sale by owner, jot down the number and the address and give them a call. It might be the perfect house for your client. Okay, where did it go? There it is. Check in with your clients periodically. Don't just send them searches, but check in with them and make sure that they're getting the searches they want. Make sure if the prices are going up, that you're watching that the price values are going up, and they may need to increase their search. One of our guarantees to our clients is we won't look outside their search price range, but if they start looking outside this price range, now you're no longer helping them. So stay in contact with them, check in with them weekly, see if they've seen anything that they want to go look at. We try and check in with them every Thursday when a bunch of houses come on the market at least. Most of the clients will call Ellen and say, hey, I want to see this one. And then another one pops up, they'll say that again. So just know what your client stays off, and you're working with the nurse. They usually work 3 or 4 days on and 3 or 4 days off. So you'll have to be able to schedule around that. And hopefully they're not working every single weekend, because that's going to be hard to get them into a house. Does anybody have any questions on looking for showing homes?
A delicate way of telling your buyer that they're looking for too high of a price when they're looking on their own?
If they're not qualified that high, what I would do is get with their lender and tell them what their house payment's going to be at that price point that they're looking at, and then ask them how comfortable they are with that, and if they even qualify. So get with their lender too. Keep the lender in the loop. I find that helps the most. I use the Fidelity app, and I can run the payment for them. All you got to do is plug in the price, the taxes, and it calculates everything else. So when we're running through that with them, we'll just say, this is what your house payment is. Can you afford that? And they'll usually disqualify themselves.
And also, I mean, obviously, like you said, or everybody, I think, is finding out in today's market. I mean, something listed at 320 is probably going to actually sell for 340, 350. So what if you have a client that doesn't, I don't know, believe is not the right word, but, you know, it's like, oh, well, we're going to continue to look at 40 because that's our max. You just kind of go let them fail forward and say, all right, we'll go look at this. And then they lose out by 20,000, and then maybe that readjusts their price.
I really don't like to show people houses that are $20,000 over where they're looking, because they won't get it, right? You know that they're not going to get it, but you can show them one, but you can also tell them where it's going to be, and if they can't qualify there, it's the reality today.
Okay, so you're looking at houses probably 15 to 20 under their qualifying.
Max. Yep. In fact, most of the ones I've gotten lately are 25 to 30,000 over the asking price is where the ones we're picking for the sellers. So they need to be prepared for that. And you can tell them, and they may not believe you, and they might have a family member that used to be a realtor a long time ago, but nobody's dealt with inventories in the less than a week inventory range that we're dealing with. None of them have. So I mean, the older realtors are used to houses sitting on the market for 60 to 90 days before they even adjust the price. Well, we don't even have that. It's closed before then, unless you're keeping it from closing because your seller wants to buy a house and they haven't found one yet. So there are some products. Any of your buyers, are they own a house already?
I have a couple that are like that, but we haven't found one to make an offer on or gotten an accepted offer mostly because of the contingency.
So there's Churchill Mortgage has a what do they call it? It's basically a second loan on the house where they can use their equity, but they don't have to make it contingent on their home selling. So then they become more competitive, but they do have to have their home on the market by the time the loan's complete.
So it's basically a bridge loan?
It's a bridge loan. They also have another one where they'll lock, interest rates are projected to start coming up. I had originally heard they weren't going to, and then this week, the mortgage industry started saying that the mortgage interest rates are going to go up, which will slow down the number of people. And if you have somebody that's in a really tight price point, they may not be able to qualify at the price they're looking at today. If the interest rates go up a quarter of a percent, they may not qualify anymore. So it's really important to stay in touch with your lenders and know what's going on in the market, because that is going to change how the market, it may shift us to at least a more balanced market, I hope. Just because some people will want to sell and be able to move up. So in this market, I always call the listing agent, even though they want me to call showing time, to make sure the house is still available and when they're presenting offers. And you need to do that so that your offers are considered, are seriously considered. And they don't like, in our area, they don't like buyers that haven't seen the house. They just flat out won't pick them. So if you have an out-of-town buyer that's putting offers in on a house they think they like, if they haven't seen it, they may not accept it. So try and get your clients in them. When we first meet with a buyer at our initial consultation, we try to find out what are the things that they must have in their home and what are things that are negotiable or they can add them themselves later. And that really makes it a little easier to get them into some homes and what's important about those things to them. All right, get back to the slideshow. Another tool that I use and I like to use with my iPad is I'll go create a tour of the homes in Cloud CMA. It has a section for showing, and you can just drop in the homes so they can see all the pictures of the homes, and I give them my iPad so they can just walk through the home and decide if they like it or not, which kind of helps when you're showing homes to people and they can look at the next home while you're driving from one house to the next.
Do you like that service, the Cloud CMA?
I love the Cloud CMA. It makes a really professional presentation.
Right.
You don't have to do that. I just haven't built out the new one in Command yet. But
Right.
I do like how it does it, and there's no extra work around it. I do usually go in and do a map search of homes, whether I do it in RMLS or I do it in Willamette Valley, because I want, when I'm pricing a house, I want to make sure I'm pretty accurate. And I've been within 0.5% of what a house is going to sell for the last 18 years.
Awesome. Do you use the Cloud CMA for any like lead generation? Because I know there are different like tiers that you can buy, things like that.
I haven't.
Okay. Thanks.
most of 92% of our business is repeat and referred. We did about 16 million last year. It's a high percentage. Most people don't do that higher percentage, but it's a little different. I mean, I think our numbers will be a little lower this year because we haven't been out visiting with people like we normally are. We normally have some big events that we can't do. Our Easter egg hunt has over 600 people in attendance. And we couldn't do it last year. It got canceled and we can't reserve it this year. So can't reserve the park to do it in. We were trying to get a farmer to let us do it, but with COVID restrictions, they don't want people on their property either. And those are some of our, we do that in a big picnic. We have a band and food and lots of games and everybody likes to come. It's fun. I miss that stuff. I'm not your typical engineer. So if I grab a house, does anybody want to talk about a house and what the benefits are? No?
Sure. What do you mean by benefits? Just in general, what the highlights of the house are?
Yeah, the highlights of the house. For the most part, when I'm showing houses, I don't do that with my clients because they can see. They're not idiots. But if they start really liking something, if there's a special feature that's listed in the MLS, like it has a vacuum that might need a built-in vacuum system, that might not be evident. If the drawers are the soft closing drawers in the kitchen, that might be a benefit they might really like. Usually they're listed in the features, but not always. Some agents, especially on teams, they don't always know all the benefits in the house because they haven't been in the house. So somebody's doing the data entry that doesn't know the house. They may not know that. So point out soft closed doors. I always open a door or two in the kitchen. And in this environment, take some wipes with you because you need to wipe it back off so it's sanitary. And people are recording people in houses. And there's been a lot of complaints in our area about people not wearing masks. So make sure you're wearing your mask because if they're recording people going through in their house, and watch what you're saying in the house. You know, you can point out the benefits, but watch what you're saying. And if your client really likes it, go like this and tell them to be quiet because you notice the camera. But some of the cameras you can't tell they're there. So you need to really be careful in houses because you don't want to give the seller an advantage in negotiations, that they're just giddy about the house. So just make sure you keep your client's emotions in check when they're in a house because of the recording devices. All right, I gotta go back to my email for a second and grab the video for you guys.
I agree with you as far as most of my buyers not being idiots, as you pointed out. But so I don't really, point out all the features. But if I've had a conversation with them and maybe even shown them a couple houses, and they've said, "Oh, I really like that in a different house," I might really draw that attention to that feature if it's in a different house, or if it's not in that house, I'll ask, "Hey, did you notice this wasn't here or was here?" So point out the features that they maybe have told me that they like or dislike.
Yeah, a lot of people will want to go see a house just because there's nothing on the market. But if they are dead set that they want to have AC and it doesn't have AC, point that out. You want to make sure they know what they're getting. And if they do really like the house, go around and look at the foundation on the outside because there might be something wrong with the house. You share. Ignore.
Hi, my name's Sean Healy, and today I'm going to teach you how to create buyer.
Can you guys see that?
Through
No.
the showing process. And the first step is setting expectations.
Yes, I can see it.
Pardon?
Yes, I can see it.
You can see the video?
Yeah, it's
I
off.
see part of it.
There you go.
Yep.
Buyers that it is a seller's market. And what that means is the best homes go fast. The next area that we set expectations in is multiple offers. We tell our buyers there's going to be a lot of other buyers out there, and you may find yourself in a competitive situation. The third area that we set expectations on is condition. Many of the homes that they're going into are going to be move-in ready, but they need a little bit of work. The next step in the process we call the funnel. And essentially, we're trying to take the entire MLS and funnel it down so that at the end of the day, there can be only one house that kicks out the bottom. What I'd like you to do tonight, pick out the best 10 or 15 homes, and then tomorrow drive by those homes and check them out. I want you to pick out the best 3 or 4, and we'll go out and take a look at those homes. Next part is the actual showing process. We show the first house. You'll ask the buyer on a scale of 1 to 7, leaving out the 4, 7 being perfect, and there is no perfect home, and 1 being unlivable. Where would you rate this home? Inevitably, the buyer will answer it's a 5. And the reason they give you a 5 is because they don't have anything else to compare it to on the very first home that they've gone to see. Then what you want to do is try and reinforce what's making it a 5 for you. Then the next question you ask said, what are some of the things that you would do to move it more towards a 7 if you were to purchase it? You go on to the next house. Now you ask an alternative of choice question. Pretend you had to buy one of these 2 houses today. Which one would it be? The last one we saw or this one? They liked the first one better. Perfect. Go to the third house. The third house, you do the same thing. You say, all right, Gary, pretend there's only 2 homes on the market and you have to buy one today. Which one is it? The first one we saw or this one? And they say, this one. And you repeat that process over and over until you get to the last house. And at the end of the day, you say, well, it looks like 123 Main Street was your favorite house. So right there from the house, we call the listing agent, find out if the home is still available. Let's go back to the office and get this property written up before somebody else gets it. My biggest aha out of this came when I was out with one of my first-time buyer families, and we drove up to the first house, and my buyer said, I don't even want to go in that one. What he ended up telling me at the end of that trip was, Sean, what I want you to do is print me out a list of every home that matches my criteria. I'm going to drive by those homes, and I'll tell you which ones I want to see. Aha! Hey, thanks for watching KW Connect, and make it a great day.
So were there any ahas out of that?
Well, you're kind of,
No, go ahead.
well, I was just going to say you're kind of guiding them, and you know, some people, they kind of want to like see everything, or they're afraid they're going to miss something if they don't go look at everything. And you know, I mean, maybe if you can kind of guide them to what they really want to look at without being, you know, very pushy about it, they'd be able to come up to a decision a little bit easier that they're comfortable with.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I really like the way that he was doing, and he didn't say it explicitly, but I see this sometimes in like research and stuff when you're trying to make scales, like to have people rate things. He was like constantly working to set the boundaries of them and like kind of clarify them and clarify them and clarify them. That way that his clients had a better like basis for comparison between the houses, so it was easier to pick the one they like. I liked it.
Yeah, we always do that game. We only let them keep the top 3. So if there was 30 houses on the market and they're looking at 10 of them, they only get to keep the top 3, 1, 2, 3, and you always reorder them and get rid of everything else. It really helps streamline the process when you're showing. I really miss having them in my car because we used to do that going from car to car. We did discuss the pros and cons of each house. And now that we're not doing it in with everybody's following, Sometimes we'll call in between if we have a ways to drive, but when they get to the next house, we talk about the pros and cons of the last one and go into the next one. It was just easier to do in the car because you don't always know your client super well. So it's a good way to build some rapport. And I like talking about what schools are in the area and things like that. Because if they have kids or grandkids, those are the questions they're going to be asking. It's important as a realtor to really know your city because you're gonna figure it out pretty fast if you haven't been doing this for very long. I'll get us back into the screen share again. So where there is no passion, there is no vision. Mo Anderson. And that's true. If you have passion in what you're doing, your clients are going to see that and they're going to really look to you for advice. So when I'm showing properties, if they don't want to use the technology, so older clients don't, they like paper. The older clients, I'll print out the client detail for them to write their notes on, and I'll have all the homes in the same order that we're going to go through them. And I do that if they're following me too, in case they get lost. I try not to lose them at lights, but once in a while it's a little bit hard. Give them a client detail that they can take with them and write any notes on. And sometimes I give them a clipboard and the client detail, depending on the people. It just makes it easier for them. If they like the iPad, I'd rather do that. I don't have to do anything. That's click and go. Make sure you keep their top 5 must-haves in a house top of mind when you're going with them. So with each client file we have their list of their must-haves in that file, so that it's very easy to turn to and go over. This house has all 5 things that you said you had to have in a house. It's in good condition. What's going to stop you today from making an offer on this house? And you're still there trying to sell a house. But like I said, most clients will let you know when they walk in. If their body language walks in and their shoulders drop and they just look like they just walked into their own home and they're all relaxed, that's when your spidey sense needs to kick in and you need to start looking for anything wrong with that house. How are you guys doing? Oh, everybody doing okay?
I'm having a sneezing fit, so I went off camera, but otherwise I'm great. Thanks.
Okay. So it's time to do some script practice. Do you guys have your manuals? In the manual, it also has a home tour checklist. I have never filled one of those out, but I do have them ranked every single time. Sometimes the sellers will ask what's important to the seller. And that's where a call to the seller's agent's important, because you want to put your offer in the best position for that. So if the seller wants more time because they haven't found a house yet, make sure that you give a long closing time or a rent back and ask them if they want either of those, because it's important. If they're renting back for even just a day because you have to wait for the next escrow to close, make sure you fill out the contract for the rent back. So here's the first script. And those of you that are sharing a computer can do it by yourselves. If you want me to break you out, I can do that too. I just have to figure it out. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, my role is your buyer specialist, and the reason why we met for a consultation is to sort through the homes that meet your criteria and only show you the best available homes, the cream of the crop. And the best homes on the market go fast, usually in 1, maybe 2 days. If you love this home, chances are someone else does too. Are you willing to lose this home, this perfect home for you, your wow home, the one you will absolutely love, just so you can see everything out there? Has anybody found somebody's perfect home? It's pretty fun when you do. It doesn't happen very often. In 18 years of doing it, it doesn't happen very often that you find exactly everything somebody wants. But when you do, you call them up and you say, I found the house for you. Let's go right now. Because it will be gone. It's pretty cool. The script for we don't like the carpet, paint color, or landscaping is probably one you should get to like. I saw a house the other day and it had some of the most hideous color combinations I'd ever seen. One room was fuchsia, one room was bright yellow, another room was lime green, another one was teal, and I would have to paint every room in the house if it was me, just because I couldn't handle it. But paint is really inexpensive if you do it yourself. It's not a big deal. Same with carpet. If they don't like the carpet, they can change it. But in this market, asking for a bunch of things from the seller is going to make you not get the house. Says to do a mock showing of a home. I typically try to keep them all together and walk through the house together, but sometimes, and this is one thing you got to watch out for when you're showing clients, especially if it's the first time you've really met with them. The guy heads to the garage and the gal heads to the kitchen, and there's been some people, especially at open houses, that are staking out houses and trying to steal things. So you need to keep an eye on them and make sure they stay together, and just tell them for safety reasons during COVID, we're going to stay together. It's just an easy thing you can say. I feel like I cheated you. I'm through the material really fast. Does anybody want to practice showing a home? I can pull one up and we can go through it. Nobody? So those of you that haven't finished your calls for the day, please take time for your calls. Do go out and look at homes. It's really easy to go show vacant homes. So go look at some vacant homes and make sure you understand what you're looking at on the multiple listing sheets and in regards to the home. Look for, there is an area in Dallas for the gal that's doing the listing in Dallas. There's a whole area in Dallas that has really bad foundations, and some of them have been fixed and some of them haven't. They're up behind the Safeway. And that whole neighborhood, I walked into this house to list for a past client of mine, and every wall had cracks in it. It needed a new foundation, and it cost $90,000 to put a new foundation in that house.
Hi.
So,
Oh, sorry to interrupt. I'm the gal who asked you about the house in Dallas.
okay.
monitoring my kids in my garage at the moment, so sorry it's a mess. I actually had a question about that. So Tori messaged me and said she was on a call with the mayor of Dallas today. I believe, if I'm saying that right, Tori, but and they said that the like the values in Dallas were like 300,000 lower than Salem. But this is, for instance, okay, so I didn't think so either. And I have just briefly been doing some research in the area. And I like, for instance, looked at my dad's old house, which he passed away in 2011. So I sold it, I believe, in 2012. And I was told I would have to sell his house. He owed like 189 on it. And they told me I'd have to pay 10,000 to sell it. And it's 4 acres. It was 1925, 3-story home. I had another agent come in and say, yeah, let's sell it for 285. Well, ended up giving the keys back to the bank and giving them the home because I couldn't sell it. And I just looked it up and it's almost at 500,000. And interesting you said about the houses behind Safeway, because their house, I actually lived in a house behind Safeway as well, but their house is up far on a hill up there. So I will take note of that to make sure that that's not an issue. But as far as the home values go, they seem to be pretty high in my opinion. But again, I'm not in the system, so I'm just using Redfin, Zillow, all the things that everyone who isn't in your system is looking at. So is that accurate or inaccurate as far as the pricing?
It's a little lower than Salem, but not significantly lower. And depending on how new the house is, the new construction is selling almost at the same price as it is in Salem. So I would not take the mayor's word on that. I can probably shoot you some comparables. I just would need more information because the network is in, I don't know if your office is in WV or not, but the network is in it. You might be able to get the principal broker's login.
Thank you for that information. It's all valuable.
Dallas has been holding its value pretty well. Staten and Sublimity, which is about the equal distance from Salem, is selling for about 50,000 more than it is in Salem. So, but Dallas is about 50,000 less on average on the older homes. On the newer homes, they're the same. Anybody else with a question? I'll get us out of screen sharing.
I have one. Since I'm so new and obviously I don't have any listings yet, I would like to get some experience doing open houses. Is it common for me? Can I like take someone's open house from like anyone at my office?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that...
Just ask one of the agents if you can shadow them at an open house, if they're doing an open house, and then ask them if you can, especially the teams. Sometimes they'll let you do one of their open houses. They probably won't do it the first weekend, but if it doesn't sell, they would let you do it the next.
Okay.
For the most part, lately, open houses are a little harder. I don't know if your county's more open than we are.
So, I mean, as much as it could be.
So our office is only letting us do one open house at a time, one person through the house at a time, one couple.
Okay.
So you have to sanitize in between. So you're going to go through a lot of booties and a lot of sanitizer. I would order at least 100 booties to have them on hand and maybe 300 because you're going to need them. We can't reuse them.
So it's not like the old days where there's just a sign and anyone can come in.
Anyone can come in, but it's one family at a time.
Okay. Got it.
The other thing you could do is, and it's working really well for some of my friends outside of our market, is they've been doing a appointment only open house. Mm-hmm. So if somebody calls you up to schedule an appointment to go to an open house, so that and this person historically has never worked weekends, and she's doing it before the scheduled open house and capturing a bunch more buyers that way.
Okay.
So ask if you could do an appointment only open house at somebody's and advertise it real heavily on Facebook and to your sphere via email, and create a landing page in Command for the appointment only open house.
Okay, thank you.
Shouldn't she also check with her market center too? Because like right now in Eugene, they're not supporting open houses. So that means that it's kind of at your own risk, which I think is an issue with the errors and emissions insurance, isn't it? So you might want to just make sure you check in with your market center to make sure that you're going to be supported if you do an open house and it doesn't go well, like somebody catches COVID and then it spreads it all around, because that is a huge issue and liability.
Yeah, in our area, we've been required to have a check-in, check-out list in case somebody does come up with COVID. I had a client that had 6 dogs, and there was no way that she could keep the house clean in between showings, so we only did an open house. And everybody was stacked. Luckily, it was a really nice day, and everybody was stacked up out there with their realtors to come in, but it worked, and we sanitized in between every single showing.
I would say too. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, Annie, it also just to kind of like give you some more understanding about the open houses. I feel like if you wanted to email Mara or email whoever you're connected with over there, and just ask her to send you the open house training like that we've already seen. I feel like Hannah Reno did a really good job of kind of explaining what it would look like if you were to do an open house. She was saying, right now, like she's really not doing them, but this is how they have gone. And I feel like it was really helpful information as far as being curious about what that could look like for you.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah.
The nice thing about the appointment only open house is they're basically scheduling an appointment with you to go see the house. So it's no different than a regular showing.
And I would say that on my listing that I just closed on in January, I basically just asked my clients to leave for the weekend. They have 3 kids and they're super busy, but I just told them honestly, for their own sanity, that I think that their house is going to be busy, and just for all precautions of people coming in and out, that maybe it would just be better if they left either the majority of the day, all 3 days on the weekend, or stayed away for the weekend. And they did. I just offered to turn on the fireplace for them, to, go shut off the lights and just do all the basic things that they needed in between so that they weren't stressed about it. But just to kind of save your clients or your sellers or whoever you're helping just some anxiety on the constant like in and out or whatever, it's kind of nice to just have them out for the whole weekend if it's possible.
And it is crazy for the first weekend of a listing. It's always been a little bit busy. Now it's like insanity. Everybody's calling, everybody's scheduling. You're going to have 30 or 40 showings the first day it goes on the market. So it's a little different than when I started in 2003. 2003, I held an open house every single day. That's how I got started. We moved here, I knew nobody, and went into real estate. But you can't do that today. But do ask your principal broker if your office is allowing open houses. Get a lot of sanitizer and get some booties, because you're going to need them.
And just another little note, and this is just my opinion, which isn't a whole lot, but when I was showing my clients a house, there were so many COVID restrictions on this house that I took them to see. Just following all the directions and having them follow them as well and explaining them to them was just almost like stressful for them to even go see it. And I got there, and all the sanitizing equipment is inside the door, which I understand because it's Oregon and it's wet, but they did have a covered porch. And I'd almost suggest, if it's possible, like having that stuff right outside the door where they can just take off their shoes before even entering the home, especially if like the area is really small when you walk in, because it just created a really crowded kind of feel or situation walking in the door, and the door didn't even like have a lot of space to open already. So if that stuff can already be outside, because I ended up there was like no service, and I texted the listing agent just to make sure the stuff was inside the door because I didn't see it outside, and it was like a whole thing. So if it can be outside, I think that's really convenient for your clients to be able to just pop off their shoes outside on that front porch or throw on their booties or whatever you're asking them to do. But again, that's just my opinion on showing a house with a ton of restrictions.
Yeah, when I have a client that's super COVID panicky, I have hand sanitizer outside. I have booties, and I had booties, masks, and gloves in little sandwich bags and had them there so that everybody could have their own sanitized version.
That's a really great idea.
And
It made
honestly,
it,
oh, go ahead.
it made it go easier.
Yeah, I was gonna say that even if you get to start showing homes, or even if you go look at homes and it says there in the private comments, like, or public comment anywhere, that like booties and gloves and all of that is provided, if you can bring some for yourself. I mean, I would say half the homes that I showed my clients in Portland actually did, there was no booties, or there would be like 3, but there's 6 feet, so half of us ended up having to take our shoes off so that we could go through the homes. So I learned after the first time that I showed homes, like, I'll make sure to have my own gloves, my own hand sanitizer, my own booties with me, just so that it makes it comfortable and safe for everybody.
And I have that in my car too. I have a big bag of stuff in my car. Anyway, you'll get used to that too. But I have it in just one of those big shopping bags, the reusable kind, the fabric ones. And it's real easy to stack it in there. And then I have a small SUV, so I just pull the thing back and put the glove sizes on top and they can grab their own. It works well.
I have a question. Where do you get your booties from?
The best source, I used to get them from one of the in-home medical supply places, but they were closed, and I started ordering them online. You have to look on Amazon. There's some extra large booties. Those are the best ones.
Mm-hmm.
They're a little more expensive, but not bad. And I think they're like $26 for 100.
Are they actually called booties, or do they have a
shoe covers?
Okay.
Shoe covers.
Thanks.
And they have, I ordered them when all of it first shut down. I ordered them from, I don't remember the name of the place, but they were really poor quality ones. I still have some of those because they only fit on little kids. They don't fit on adults. And I have a small foot. They barely fit on my shoes. So trying to get people into those ones is a pain. If somebody's got small shoes, I keep some of those in my car and I pull them out and give them to them because I want to get rid of them. But the extra large ones aren't that big. My husband barely can get them on his feet, but they're the biggest ones I could find. So look for the extra large ones. If you go to Home Depot in the paint section, they have some really big ones that'll fit over boots. So I keep some of those in my car. That's the biggest ones I've been able to find. But they're in the paint section. But even they donated all their stuff to the hospitals at one point. So they've got them back in stock now, but they're in smaller quantities than they were before. But
Okay.
I keep some of those in my car too, in case I have a client that has really big feet.
Yeah, I looked a few months ago when I was doing some open houses, but like you said, they were donating them all to the hospital, so they didn't have any. So I might go check there or check on Amazon or whatnot. So thank you.
But look for the extra large shoe covers. Those are the only ones that seem to be similar in size to the ones I used to be able to get at the in-home healthcare places.
The struggle's real. I have a size 12 foot, so I if it fits my foot, it'll fit most other people's feet. So thankfully, I'll just try them out myself.
Yeah, my husband has an X4E 11.5. So it's hard to find shoe covers that fit him. The ones from Home Depot are the best for his feet. If you go to supply places for contractors, so I haven't found very many of those, but I've seen some contractors that have big ones too, and they're black, which is kind of nice. Any other questions? All right, you guys, if you have anything that comes up, my email, I'll put it in the chat real fast for you. So we're here to help. Like to see y'all be successful. So we're quitting a little early, so I would like you guys to spend the next hour doing some phone calls. Yep, that's the ones. So you guys have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.